1604 opens at Allahabad, where Prince Salim holds court in a way that looks less like a governor's durbar and more like a shadow throne. Petitioners bow, robes are bestowed, and coins are struck in his own name. Out loud, he insists he is proving his worth to rule. In practice, he is testing how far he can behave like an emperor without forcing a final break. Every order that carries his seal, every gold piece that leaves his mint, makes that balancing act more precarious. In Agra, Akbar reads those signs in every report. He has spent a lifetime welding Rajputs, Uzbeks, and Deccanis into one empire. The thought that it might fracture because a beloved son insists on acting as a second monarch weighs heavily on him. Through the early months of 1604, he sends letters instead of armies, leaning on argument and affection. Salim stays where he is. By late summer, patience frays. Boats and cavalry are ordered to assemble on the Jumna. Word creeps down the caravan routes that the emperor himself is moving east to bring the prince to heel. And for a few weeks, Hindustan quietly imagines what a war between father and son would look like. It doesn't happen. In early September, news reaches him that Hamida Banu Begum, Akbar's mother and Salim's grandmother, has died in Agra. The march halts. The court turns back upriver for mourning. Salim, against much anxious advice, leaves Allahabad and comes to. It is a calculated surrender. In the dim, incense-thick rooms where the funeral rites are read, he bows to his father, asks forgiveness, and waits for his punishment. Akbar chooses humiliation over destruction, sharp public rebuke, a brief confinement, then a slow, conditional return to favor. By year's end, the prince is back at the center of power, no longer an open rebel, still far from secure. Far to the west, in London, Sir James Lancaster wrestles with a different problem. How to turn a single spectacular voyage into a repeatable machine. Knighted for his return from the east, he has given up the quarterdeck for the boardroom at Leadenhall Street. His energies in 1604 go into procedures and people, making sure ships are better victualled, insisting that the lemon juice that kept scurvy at bay on his own voyage becomes standard issue, and recommending a commander who has already proved himself under fire. Henry Middleton fits that bill, steady in Asia, careful with cargo, respected by his men. The Court of Committees listens. In late March, 4 hulls, the Red Dragon, Hector, Ascension and Susan, drop down the Thames under Middleton's flag, holds packed with bullion and English cloth, carrying written instructions that Lancaster means to use as a template for every voyage that follows. On the Coromandel coast, Chetty greets the same year with ledgers rather than letters. His brick Go Down at Pulicat stands a little back from the lagoon. Inside, rows of longcloth and salampors lie bundled and marked with his red palm. His work is to keep those rows moving. He advances copper coins to weavers for yarn and dye, takes repayment in finished cloth, inspects, rejects, and accepts with a practiced thumb. One river of bolts runs west through Portuguese São Tomé, onto ships bound for Aceh and Malacca. Another runs northwest in Gujarati, hands toward Cambay and beyond, feeding demand in Pegu, Patani, and Bantam. To keep both routes alive, he must keep his weavers fed, his rice boats busy, and his accounts so precise that neither Portuguese nor Gujarati doubly counts a single piece. From Pulicat's jetty, he hears names from across the seas. English ships buying pepper in Bantam, the Dutch VOC sending out great fleets and dragging Portuguese prizes into Amsterdam. In 1604, they are rumours more than partners. The only Europeans he deals with directly are the Portuguese, whose passes still smooth most long voyages. He treats them as expensive gatekeepers, useful so long as they pay promptly and do not squeeze too hard. In his own mind, he is not the servant of any crown. Any flag that brings good silver and honours its word can have bales from his warehouse. Any that fails can stand in the roadstead and wait. The Dutch East India Company spends the year making sure it will not have to wait. In Amsterdam, the 17 gentlemen who govern it send out a strong fleet under Stephen van der Hagen with a compact set of aims. Buy pepper wherever it is plentiful and cheap, inconvenience Portuguese trade wherever it is weakly defended, and secure at least one place on the Indian coast where Dutch ships can anchor and store goods by right, not sufferance. After clearing the Cape and taking a rich merchantman, Van der Hagen appears off Calicut, where the Zamorin has been looking for a counterweight to Goa for a century. The agreement they strike in the autumn gives the Dutch a warehouse and the right to keep powder and shot in the port, in exchange for their guns when Portuguese sails appear on the horizon. On the face of it, it is only a piece of paper and a rented building. In practice, it is the first legal foothold of a second European power on India's western shore. By the last weeks of 1604, no one has quite achieved what they set out for, but all of them have shifted the ground beneath their feet. Akbar has pulled his son back within reach without marching on Allahabad. Salim has kept his following and his life at the cost of swallowing some of his pride. Lancaster waits in London for news from Middleton, hoping the new habits he has forced on the company will hold. Chetty bolts his warehouse doors on a year in which both his export channels survived and whispers of new buyers grew louder. And in Calicut, the VOC officers fold away their freshly sealed treaty, convinced that a lodge on the Malabar shore and a promise of cannon will, in time, count for more than all the old claims Portugal makes in the name of discovery.